least, sure.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Project Jupyter IPython Developers Call. It's July 3rd, and we're following an agenda on Dropbox paper. We will go ahead and get started with updates on Jupyter Lab.
Okay, so beta 3 pre-release is out right now, and I've linked to an issue where the changelog is being documented because there's been enough PRs that it's a little easy to lose track. So before pre-release becomes actual beta 3 proper, we'll have documented all the things in there. Some of the changes include support for larger file uploads, refactor of the context and services APIs, better support for workspaces and other URLs, support for multiple windows, lots more documentation, and the new main area widget is in this beta. There's a lot of changes basically, and hopefully the pre-release is just for the next couple of days, and this week we'll put out actual beta 3. I know Tim and Jessica posted something, so if they want to add on, go ahead, but that's it for me.
I have nothing else to add on that.
I just had to add, I wanted to talk, I don't think we've gone over in one of these meetings about what the intern team's working on this summer at Cal Poly. We're doing the notebook tags extension, so tag and then run sessions by tags. So like say select all the tags that say not run yet and then run them. We're also continuing work on our Git extension. We're building a status bar for Jupyter Lab. And then that team's also continuing work on the Electron app. And then we're building a keyboard shortcut UI. And that team is also working on a side project with the table of contents, picking up where Ian left off. And that's all I've got on Jupyter Lab. But I did have above, I didn't put it in when we started at IPython, but our design team is also working on a new logo for IPython, and the first sort of iteration of that is done, and we're going to disseminate that publicly for feedback at some point.
All right, anything else on IPython Notebook or Jupyter Lab before we move on? All right, let's move on to Jupyter Hub. Jessica, looks like you have some notes in there. Jessica.
Yeah, so we've gotten some good feedback from the submission process of ICML's workshop on reproducibility and machine learning, and that's been turned into some new tags in repo to Docker, and also additional documentation in repo to Docker. Additionally, we are now have a PR that's been merged for GitHub tagging, which means that we should be putting together a new release of repo to Docker soon. And we're hoping to eventually update Jupyter Lab, the Jupyter Lab version in repo to Docker, which would lead also to an updated version of Jupyter Lab on mybinder.org, which would then allow people on Binder to take advantage of all of Darian's hard work on URLs. Thanks again for that. We also have a Team Compass meeting happening at 6 in the evening Central European summertime, which is 9 a.m. Pacific daytime. I'm sorry, Pacific Daylight Savings Time. I guess anyone who's not in any of those time zones can figure it out from that time stamp. We also have a link to the issues for planning the agenda. And also, Min's going to talk about the Jupyter Hub release. So I'm going to leave it to you, Min.
Yeah, not a lot. Hugely exciting. But we had a big release of Jupyter Hub a couple weeks ago. So now we have a little release of a few bug fixes and things since then. And probably associated releases of various authenticators and spawners and things. And also the Jupyter Hub Helm chart should get a release soon. But I think mostly things are gonna pause as we get ready for presentations and stuff at SciPy. and maybe work on finishing those releases during the SciPy sprints or something like that. That's it.
All right, sounds good. So before we move on to talking a little bit about JupyterCon and other conferences and workshops, is there anything anyone wants to cover before that wasn't covered in the agenda above? Doesn't sound like it, so we'll move on to JupyterCon right now. Our biggest message is we are still looking for posters, and those submissions are due Friday. So please encourage people in your network, excuse me, to get those submissions in by Friday at midnight, I believe the deadline is, but you can look on jupytercon.com for more information. Looks like...
Did we tweet out about that? Or
yeah,
have we pushed out stuff?
I feel like we have, but that's
yeah, I've seen tweets about it.
There's definitely been tweets. I don't know if there's any recent ones, so I'll take a peek. We've been tweeting a lot about JupyterCon lately. Actually, that's a request. If you see, I don't want our channel to turn into the JupyterCon channel. So if you have things that you come across, please retweet them. If you have access to the credentials, please retweet them so that that channel stays full of Jupyter related information, not just JupyterCon. Okay, so moving on to other conferences and workshops. I thought there was...
I have a quick request for SciPy next week.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
We've been asked to give a 5-minute, so during I think a plenary session, they have short updates from projects, core base projects. And so these are 5-minute sort of lightning talks. You get a few slides, that type of thing, to give an update on the project. I know what I can put for Jupyter Lab. I know what I can put for IPyWidgets. If there's anything else that would be sort of major highlights from the last year, that would be a good update for SciPy, or what's in the pipeline for SciPy. If you could send me just a short snippet of text, maybe no more than a minute, like Jupyter Hub, for example, it would be great if there were if there was a few bullet points of highlights that you wanted to push out to the SciPy audience from the last release, or other stuff that was happening in the last year. And if you have a screenshot, if you can get that to me today, that would be great. If not, I'll just make a generic slide that says Jupyter and then just talk through whatever bullet points people have.
Yep.
What time frame are you looking to cover, Jason?
Last year. So,
okay.
So I'm looking to cover since last SciPy.
Okay.
And going forward. So, doesn't need to be exhaustive. It doesn't need to go all the way back to last SciPy, et cetera. But just if there's anything super notable that people coming last SciPy wouldn't know, that's the sort of thing. Like, for example, I'm going to mention Jupyter Lab hit beta, and there's lots of cool things in it. Here's one or two that might be interesting. Download it today and start using it. That type of thing.
Okay.
I'll probably mention we got the software system award, which was a tremendous vote of confidence in the Jupyter and the scientific ecosystem.
Sure. Okay. Sounds good. So is there anything else on conferences and workshops that anyone would like to cover? So as you see, call for proposals or presentations out in the community, please add them to this agenda so we can keep track of them for the community. Right now that's blank, but I'm sure there's things out there that have come across your path. So don't forget to add those into this agenda. And the last thing I have is a reminder to document the releases from last week, releases planned for this week, and releases coming soon. And I think that's the end. Anything else anyone would like to cover before we go ahead and sign out for the day? All right. It was great to see everyone. I'll go ahead and end the recording now. Bye.